Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
hey guys,
now.
Bix Weir, road2ruta.com. Gonna be a quick one today. The private road members, check out the 3 scenarios for debt ceiling. The video I posted on Friday, I believe it was. Check that out. It gives you a rundown of what's going on, which is insane. Debt talks remain stalled with X date fast approaching. When you think about what both sides want, the Democrats know they can't win the next election. Would they rather have pure chaos or try to run Biden against somebody? Obviously, it's pure chaos. The Republicans would love to blame the collapse of the unbacked fiat monetary system on the Democrats. The banksters want to crash the system because the whole world is falling apart and they want to get away with their crimes, truthfully. Although, they're still in control of the markets. The market riggers are still in control of the markets. I don't know where they're going to place, like, the stock market, the bond market. The key for the good guys is they don't want any winners from this catastrophe. And the only way to win, really, is to get your assets in your own possession. Your gold, your silver. Cash, who knows what that'll be. It's a Federal Reserve note, but who knows? Coinage, obviously silver would be the best. But even physical coins, if the banks crash, remember, physical coins are money of the United States of America. Why do you think the U.S. Mint keeps telling the world, oh, we're running out of coins because of COVID? COVID's long over, and they're still saying they're running out of coins. So they don't want to get many coins out there because that's just more of the new money that they're obligated to inject into the new system. If they have that ability. I don't know if they'll have that ability. Anyway, the debt talks remain stalled with X date fast approaching. With the dreaded X date fast approaching, House Republicans and White House remain at an impasse over how to raise the debt ceiling. If you follow the road to Ruta, the end game is the complete destruction of the monetary system through the derivative collapse. Now, that's the big banks. Don't forget that. That's the big banks. Yes, all the little banks are going to close down before the big banks, and then the big banks will close down before or as the entire system implodes. Because everybody, they're juggling so many balls right now. If one ball falls, the whole edifice of this crazy thing we're living in, the unbacked fiat monetary system, comes crumbling down. And I'm not talking about a stock market drop or a bond market drop or a crypto drop or a gold and silver drop. They might not. They might quadruple. And then what I'm talking about is a shutdown, just closing the doors. Oh, we had a force majeure. So everything is just shut down, and they try to figure out how to reopen all markets in a new paradigm with a new form of currency. It's going to be absolute insanity. But that's the best way they can go about, because they don't want the market shorts to win. Obviously, they don't want the price of silver to go down to 0 or negative 40 like they did with oil, because that means the bad guys win, and vice versa. They don't want people to profit off the value of gold and silver because the whole system implodes. So we just got to get our mindset out of what is my asset worth, because with derivatives and computers, every single exchange on the planet is rigged. Yes, even the crypto. Just look at the volumes of cryptos. It's all rigged. At the end of the day, you're not going to care about the price of silver. We won't even know the price of silver. We won't know the price of gold. We won't know the price of cryptos or stocks or bonds or anything. If the banks crash, that's exactly what happens. There is no more money flowing. You cannot fund your crypto account. You can't fund your stock market account. You can't fund anything to buy anything because it'll be too late. Get what you can now. Get it in your own possession. Go to your local coin shop. Load up. BlackRock is now the silver short. As I have been saying for a couple months now, there was Ted Butler discovered, and he knows this market so well, the COMEX. Out of the top 4 perpetual shorters, there was a new category that came in as number 4. I think it's number 3 now as the largest shorts because it keeps growing, and that is from the managed money category. So there's a commercial category and managed money on the COMEX. Commercial is the criminal riggers. the JP Morgans of the world, Citibank, Bank of America. The other category would hold something like BlackRock. It is not a bank. Remember, it's not a bank, but it is the de facto fixer. Let's call BlackRock a fixer for the U.S. Treasury. And that goes for gold and silver and stocks and bonds and everything. They're the fixer because they don't have to report the same as the U.S. banks do. But so right now it's estimated that this number 3 in the managed money category, or number 3 in the size of the short position, is 100% a managed money type of category, which means it's like it's exactly what BlackRock is. Not a bank, and not even theoretically, they're not even supposed to have this massive position, but they do because they break the law, and the CFTC doesn't care about that, or the OCC, which I'll get to. But so right now, they're loading up all the shorts onto BlackRock. And BlackRock is going around saying, hey, these are hedges. That is why BlackRock purchased $168 million worth of PSLV, which is the Sprott physical ETF. Now, a lot of people get confused when they see the holdings at 20.6 million. That is not. That's the shares. The shares for PSLV are priced differently than SLV. It's not one for one. So all you got to do is divide 168 million divided by the price of silver, which is what, $23. So you get about 7.5 million ounces. Clearly, 7.5 million ounces is not even close to what PSLV has in their short position. I don't remember I think it's 10,000 contracts. 10,000 contracts, or 10,500 contracts is what Ted Butler was saying. 5,000 per contract. That's 52 million ounces. So if BlackRock is legitimately trying to do what JP Morgan did when they were rigging the price of silver, short the COMEX and buy physical, we don't know how much physical BlackRock has right now. They might have one for one. And that's what JP Morgan did. Why not learn from the best rigger? JP Morgan shorted until they had over 1.2 billion ounces of physical silver. And then finally the DOJ, Trump and the DOJ shut that down. So yeah, BlackRock it looks like they're trying. They knew this would become public if they bought PSLV in such a large amount. And a lot of people say, "Oh yes, this means it's open for the the big hedge funds and all the big money managers to come into silver." Well, it also means there's going to be more and more rigging of the price of silver by the big hedge funds and the guys like BlackRock. So right now, I believe it's just BlackRock on the shorting side, and it's grown to 10.5 thousand contracts, or 52 million ounces of naked shorts, just to keep the price down so they can keep buying physical. And to them, it's a hedge. That's what they're going to say. They probably bought a hell of a lot of the Bank of America silver structured bond deals. They'll say, "Oh, that's physical silver. That counts as a hedge." So all this is bullshit, but it's the way the game is played, and that's where we are right now. Very interesting to note that SLV had the same kind of thing a while back during the silver squeeze. A company actually bought up 1/3 of all SLV, and nobody talked about it, by the way. So if you go back to down the line in SLV, go to Private Advisor Group. Back in the silver squeeze in the first quarter, they went from zero to almost 200 million shares or ounces of SLV. They owned 1/3 of SLV, and they bought it all in a quarter, and the price of silver barely moved, didn't even get over $30. And then they instantly sold it off, or took delivery. We don't know. If they took delivery, that's great, because all that silver won't come back into the market. I mean, clearly this was someone going after the silver riggers. And hopefully they took delivery, but we don't know. Or the government might have come in and did the same thing they did with the Hunt brothers and with Buffett and said, okay, that's it. We're gonna throw you in jail unless you liquidate everything. With Warren Buffett in the late 90s, it was to put together 10 million ounces or 100 million ounces, 120 million ounces, I think, is the start of SLV. So the bad guys went into Buffett and said, we're going to throw you in jail because of the crimes you have committed in your reinsurance company called General Re, unless you give us all your silver, which Buffett did. And all of a sudden, the U.S. government drops all their charges. Everybody's like, wait a minute, I thought you had him dead to rights. Well, a deal was struck. But I do think Buffett is in on this this attack on the silver bad guys. We will find out soon enough because all this shit is coming to a head. All right. Clearly, silver, this is wash, rinse, repeat the same bullshit going after the 50-day, 100-day, and 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average is up right around $22. So right now, silver's at $22.96. I do believe they'll try to slam it down below 20. Doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to you. This price is an illusion. But if you're buying silver, yeah, they take the illusion and they'll sell physical silver for the illusionary price. So definitely go to your local coin shop and stock up. If you don't have a local guy, give Andy Scheckman a call at Miles Franklin. He's worked with so many Road to Ruta people and people all over the world to get them physical silver in their own possession. You can contact him, send an email, info at milesfranklin.com, milesfranklin.com, and he can help you out. I always recommend buying what he has in inventory, because no matter who it is, when the system breaks down, it's going to break down wholly. You won't get any shipments. So make sure whatever you buy right now, obviously the best is to go to your local silver shop and just drain the place. Bring your truck. But if you don't have a local and you don't trust anybody, because there's so many frauds in gold and silver dealings, trust our guy, Andy Scheckman. But again, if Andy has something coming in and the system shuts down, who knows if you'll get it, right? Andy will do everything he can to get it to you, but if the system shuts down, I don't even know if the communications will be open. That's how crazy it's getting. A lot of people saying this weekend is a big weekend because it's a 3-day weekend. Not a lot of people. The FDIC came and said they'd rather do it on the 3-day weekend when they know they have to take about half the banks and then close them down because of they're completely underwater. And they were talking about it in their quarterly meeting, and they said, well, hopefully we can do it on a 3-day weekend. So we have a 3-day weekend here. There's a 4-day weekend over the 4th of July, and then there's another 3-day weekend in September. So I guess those are the points that they want it to happen. But, if you listen to the entire discussion of the FDIC meeting, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I don't know if they have the power to actually do something like that, make it happen on a 3-day weekend. And then they did say that they would not cover the uninsured depositors. Now, U.S. Treasury, Janet Yellen, calls that would be obviously an extraordinary systemic problem. And what they did with Silicon Valley Bank is bail them out, create the money out of thin air. But remember, Janet Yellen's running out of money too. Supposedly by June 1st, they'll be out of money or close to it. So, yeah, it's all happening now. It's insane. This is absolutely insane. Just a quick thought. The OCC, the Office of Comptroller of Currencies, collects data on over-the-counter gold and silver derivatives. Gold and silver derivative contracts. And the reason they do that is for transparency, supposedly. But back at the beginning of 2022, when I think Bank of America, you would have seen, would be drawing down massively their derivative position in silver, the OCC did exactly the opposite of what this data is supplied for. They made it more opaque. They took gold derivatives, which are just vastly higher than the silver derivatives because of the dollar value. And they lumped them in together with the silver derivatives and other precious metals so that we have no idea what's going on. So the OCC is doing exactly the opposite of what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be providing transparency to the market. What they should have done, they said it was, they said gold didn't really belong in the U.S. Treasury and the, what do they call it, the foreign exchange stuff. That's fine, but you don't have to lump it in with silver and other precious metals. Actually, they all should be separated. But definitely, if you're worried that gold was in the wrong place, put gold in its own category. Don't obfuscate the rest of the data. And who did this? This guy, Greg Coleman, J.P. Morgan guy. Greg Coleman of the OCC. This is the guy in charge of Senior Deputy Comptroller for Large Bank Supervision. Greg Coleman. You can be hearing a lot of that name. Oh, by the way, have you ever seen the leadership of Biden's OCC staff? It is like a picture-perfect diversity mix. Look at this. Half women, half men. Everybody, you got your Asians, your blacks, your Hispanics. You got everybody in here. Welcome to diversity. A lot of these people have no experience in the banking world. They would have no idea if someone like J.P. Morgan was trying to pull something over on them on the derivative side. But hey, and these people, it's hysterical because these are the people in charge of the smaller banks. You got Greg Coleman, who basically is in charge of the big banks getting bigger, and everybody else for the diversity hires is in charge of the smaller banks that are all going to go bust and they're going to be pulling their hair out. This guy, Larry Haddix, already did pull his hair out. Look at that. But those are the smaller banks. And then this guy, Michael Hugh, basically is just acting. They even call him the acting comptroller because he's never been sworn in. So he's just pretending to be a comptroller. But this is the guy we got to watch, Gary Coleman, and he'll be the guy taking all the deposits from the small banks into the big banks, and then he'll be the guy trying to explain to the world why the big banks got destroyed by their derivative collapse. Very interesting. A little more about BlackRock. It's clear to me. It's been clear for a while. I've been screaming it that it was BlackRock that was piling up. And then with this news, yes, they're buying PSLV, but they're also, at the same time they're buying, they are shorting on the COMEX, hedging their position. Is it legal? Yeah, sure. But remember, I mean, we're talking on the COMEX, they got 52 million ounces in physical silver contracts. They busted the Hunt brothers for 100 million. What happens when BlackRock gets to 100 million ounces? Are they going to bust BlackRock just like they busted the Hunt brothers? And we'll find out in a couple months. Anyway, who is BlackRock? What are they all about? This guy, Evie Hambro. I've talked to him. I've talked about him before. He is from the Hambro banking family bloodline. This is what these guys do. They control South African mines, and you go back to the history of the Hambro family, and it's absolutely along the bloodlines of the kings and queens of England. Great page here called the Peerage page, peerage.com, thepeerage.com. So the father was Peter Charles Percival Hambro, born in 18th of January 1945, son of Lieutenant Colonel Evan Bingham Hambro and Mary Charlotte Lynn, and these are all intermarried. Scotia Makata, going way back to even before that. I love this site because you can just click on it. Lieutenant Colonel Evan Bingham Hambro is the son of Major General Percival Hambro, who is the son of Percival Lewis Hambro, and he was, I think he was the banking guy, born in 1836. This is the banking guy, Charles Hambro, Joachim Hambro, he was the Baron Hambro. Oh my God, it's just crazy. He was a banker in 1939 in London, England. In the UK. So yeah, this is one of those money lines that goes back generations. And yes, this is the guy in charge of SLV, and I don't know if he's fully in charge, but I think he is. Well, obviously, senior management of BlackRock got to make the call, but they rely on Evie Hambro to do the dirty work. And the dirty work right now is short on the COMEX and then get as much physical as you can. Crazy, huh? Yes, it is. Okay, one more thing. And by the way, here's an article from last year from Peter Hambro, Evie's father. Don't forget the golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the rules. Okay, like father, like son. Here's something we're going to have to deal with a lot. You have to deal with reputable dealers. You have to deal with reputable dealers. This look like a layperson is not going to know what the hell's going on. There's going to be so much fake gold and silver. I've talked about this many, many times. And here's a gold-plated eagles. Looks just like a gold eagle in a case so that you can't take it out and weigh it and scratch it and do all that crap. They're selling for $2.96. And all it says is 2021 Gold Eagle. This is the main reason they made that little notch in the bottom of the gold and silver eagles. We're not going to know what's real and what's fake unless we melt it down. Now, if the U.S. Mint is able to identify the real stuff and put a QR code on the bottom, that would be gigantic for the gold and silver monetary system that's about to come online, I believe. Anyway, so yeah, go ahead, go buy yourself a whole bunch of fake 2021 gold eagles. If you sell them, I think the laws around counterfeiting currency are going to be death. They're not going to fuck around. When the new gold and silver money comes out, they are not going to fuck around. If you try to fake it, you will be charged with counterfeiting and you will be put to death. That's what I believe, because it'll be so important. So yeah, there's not going to be a lot of fakes, and not going to be a lot of people trying to pass off fakes, because the penalty will be death, or more, or worse. Take all your money, your family's money, and everybody you know's money, and then death. That's how important the value of the future money will be and how secure it has to be. So these out there, I wouldn't want to be caught with one. And these crazy governments, they're going to say, if you have a fake one and without even passing it off, you're in possession of fake money, they might have massive penalties for that too. So be careful. Make sure if you're going to buy a gold coin, make sure you buy it from a reputable dealer who can weigh it. And, the scratch test, not many people check their gold, by the way. And it's hard to check gold. Without, like, gold bars, you got to drill into them to figure out what it is. That's another reason I think there's going to be a global remelt of all the coins and bars and all that. If you can't verify that it's 100% gold or silver, you're going to have to, there's going to be a huge industry built up about remelting it, recasting it, and then verifying, certifying with QR codes on the bottom. That's my take. Anyway. All right, that's what I got for you. If you want more information and all these crazy stuff on the private road, which is just unbelievable information, it goes back long before, even long before Q and conspiracy theories. I mean, I started the Road to Ruta theory in January 1st, 2007. I've been writing for GATA since the year 2000. It's 23 years of information. At the Road to Ruta, go check out all the Jane Moonstone readings are great. The Dick Allgaier readings, Dick is the one who saw the death of the dollar. He says they're coming out of Congress with their head down, and that's the end. The end of Congress is coming. So go check that out. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.